Well, the word is awesome. We just did the boat ride on the north side of the island. I'm currently at the Isabel II fortress to finish up the day, and this is the first chance I've got to do this. But my gosh, yeah, first time we've done a boat ride here, and it's probably the best boat ride we've ever done, even the Caribbean, even on the west coast of America. Yeah, the birding was excellent. No amazingly good photography shots. I haven't yet to go through everything I've got. 4 possible bird species of shearwater, and I'm going to have to go through them all with a fine-tooth comb, because there's going to be Balearic probably, Yokoan, Cories, and I think it's Scopoli. If it's Scopoli or Balearic or Eucalon or Yelkoan, sorry, all those words wrong, there'll be lifers. The other two I already have. We went off from Fornells. There's probably boat rides in Ciutat de la Mahon, but luckily Fornells. It was £33 each, no food on board for these ones. I find it usually you have to get to £50, €50 to get food. And it actually turned out to be, luckily, a grey overcast day, which meant we weren't going to be being cooked on the boat, and better photography, no harsh lighting, especially at distance, and the sun on these seabirds. Everything seemed calm to start with. I brought my trousers that I can unzip and turn into shorts if need be. Oh, there's a bit of an echo in here. And a top, always bring a top, and brought food and water and everything I did need. So we got out into the open water, and straight away I'd started seeing shearwaters. And again, I could actually only take photographs, because it was hard enough to take photographs. Forget taking video, impossible. Couldn't hold, even though the water at first wasn't that bad, but all of these are photos, and I'm going to have to do a lot of work to identify what's what. So I made our way out, and the idea was that we stopped in at coves to have a swim, and I thought, nobody's swimming in this. There was only another 7 or 8 people on the boat, but nobody's swimming in this. But when we did pull into a cove, people did get in and swim, which were obviously lightweights. I think what it is for me, it's just all the mucking around with towels and the salt and getting washed and all that. So I didn't go in. I was just keeping my eye on seabirds. So on the first stop, I was taking pictures of things like the Udwan's gulls, because it's the best photography I'm going to get of those, because they were going in front of hills and cliffs, and the grey skies meant the highlights weren't going to be blown out. And then there were lots of shags around. We pulled by this big rock, and it looks like juveniles plotted up on a rock. But once we started getting out, we started seeing what would possibly be Cory shearwater or the Scopolis. But again, I'm going to have to get back to my computer. I'll put all of the good stuff over. I'll put anything I can clean up over the top of this. Yeah, little surprise, because I was lacking a few species. There was a bird calling, a call I wasn't familiar with, but it was distant, and I probably would have been a bit more familiar. And it was going round and round. I thought, is that a swift or a house martin? And I thought, no, it's slightly bigger than that, white underside. Took a picture, and it turned out to be a little ring plover. Great, so my list is up a notch. And what I think was happening, somebody was over there, maybe going to the bathroom in the wild and disturbing its nest, and it was going nuts, because I've seen that with things like killdeer, which are similar to those. That's the only way I can explain it. So I was very happy with that. Weirdly, coming in from the north, which is like Spain or France, a marsh harrier. I'm still hoping for an osprey. So a marsh harrier came, and I said, my wife was even shocked, even though she doesn't sort of do this as much as I do. A marsh harrier out here, yeah. Probably migrating to Africa or something, I don't know. But if it's coming down from the north, it means maybe there are other raptors coming that way. Who knows? What else? There was a couple of, I have to remember, I must check everything. I was getting into a bad habit of going, that's probably a red kite or something, or a Egyptian vulture. And I checked, and it wasn't until I looked at the picture afterwards, zoomed in, that I didn't recognize the underside. And I thought, that's got to be a lifer, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. Is it a long leg buzzard or something? Ran it through Merlin. Honey buzzard, at last, a honey buzzard, one of my bogey birds. Fantastic record shots. It is sharp, but it's a big crop, and it's very grey. And I saw another raptor in the distance out in near the water, and I thought it's going to be an Egyptian vulture or something, or another marsh harrier. I was looking at it, and I said to my wife, I really wish that marsh harrier we saw back there was an osprey. And I thought, I'll just check this one. And as soon as I locked onto it, I could see it was, you couldn't write that. That was unbelievable timing. Very grey sky, as I said before, but pretty good shots. These are going to come out really well. So that goes on the list. Very happy with that. The list is increasing. So we got a lifer and 2 birds to increase the list. And any of those shearwaters that might, if I identify them correctly as birds I haven't got yet, fantastic. Very, very happy. And then we pulled into these big cave. I think one of them is called Elephant Rock, if you can see it. It's sort of the shape of it. There's the eye and the ear and there's the nose. And this captain, he took us in to an area, a bit of the cave that I wouldn't take a kayak into, but he took it right in. What a captain, what an amazing boat captain, just fantastic. So we got in there and I flashed the torch around. And as we were coming out, a little bird flew in. I knew immediately it was a common sandpiper. I managed to grab one shot. That goes on the list as well. Super happy. I've just seen a hoopoe flying over there, so keep my eyes out. Here's good for, I'll just show you it quickly. I just had a first female blue rock thrush over there on the top. Managed to get some tripod footage. It wasn't too windy. And I flushed some linnets down there and I've just seen a hoopoe. And a lark landed last year somewhere here, one of the fecklers, I think it was. We're doing a little round there, hoping all this scrub and bush area will provide some small bits before we drive home. I don't like to, we're probably not going to travel now for 3 or 4 months. I want to come out, even if it's just for an hour, to do this. We drove right to the east side of the island for me to have a walk around here. Yeah, and on the way back, they didn't do any stops. They pulled into another cove, and all I could do was take distant shots of whatever shearwater are out there. There were a couple, there were always bits and pieces like shags swimming in the water there, a couple of shags in one of the bays. I kept looking up at the rocks, the lighthouse, etc., thinking, if I go up there, is that too far from those shearwater? If I go out on foot to the edges of these cliffs, will I be able to get them in? Because they were quite close relatively to land. Obviously not as close as, I think that was a rabbit, not as close as a boat can get. Yeah, I mean, I think I've got my fill. I think I've got a few in there that I can use to ID stuff. Plenty happy with that. And that's all she wrote. It was a bit of a shame because when we last passed the final flock of seabirds, I was kind of hoping like, come on, get the hint. Can we just kind of go that way a little bit? But they didn't, I mean, the boat, one of the people on there working said, what are you taking photo of? And usually these people, I don't think they understand what this lens can do. So when I show them a picture, they come away like, whoa, yeah, you got close with that one. And that was it. So yeah, I mean, we're absolutely going to do that again. I can't believe we took so long, but what a great, I didn't think I was going to get any lifers on this holiday, except something super unusual or very, very lucky. And with the shearwaters and the possible shearwaters, I have to wait and see and go through them, like I said, for the Yelkuons, and I need the Scopolis, and that'll be a lifer. 3 days more, and yeah, I'm sure I'll get something else. We're at 63 species. I need 4 more to match last time's and last year's visit, and six to beat it. So I just had to put the phone down for a second because a tawny pipit, I did just taking pictures to confirm. It's a great little spot for a last minute walk. There's no sun beating down, the little bits and pieces happening. It's a great place to come. Very exciting. I'm back at Binibeca New, the beach, which was closest to our apartment from last year. I can already hear the nightingale singing. This is what we're here for. Last year I found it to be the most filmable nightingale that we've spotted anywhere. And it sounds like it's calling us again. We're going to go and see if lightning strikes twice and if it's the same one that called last year. Let's go. Ah, great to see. Hoopoe's still here. There's the sun. There. No graffiti. There's always a worry it was come back and it was all painted over. Yeah, it's not been messed with. People appreciate great artwork. Good. I was going to use it as a thumbnail last year. I thought, no, that's appropriating someone else's work. I won't do that. Success. Not as much as I was hoping for. Not as good as last year, but then I have to say, I was here for 5-6 days in this area, coming every day to check on it. So I obviously had plenty of time to collect loads and loads of footage. So what I got today was bits and pieces. It never let you stand in a clear line of sight to it. It always picked a spot where there was a branch or a twig. And whenever it did land, then it was a clear line of sight. You moved a muscle, moved a hair, and it was gone. So what I got was lots of looking up, lots of almost passing out by holding my camera out. I had to have my tripod right up. But you'll see, I'll show you the progression of what I got. And watch when you come down here, the steps here, because a hoopoe hangs about here. And I almost had it videoed and somebody scared it off. Not their fault, they don't know. But in there, loads of good Sardinian warbler, flycatcher. 2 of the nightingales actually showed up and had a little scuffle. I don't know if they could have mated, it was so quick. They could have done it because I couldn't track them through the trees. But you'll have a good time because it's a good bit of bird watching here and you can stay out of the sun. A happy day. So I came here and I'm looking for the nightingale and I found it. Blackbird. I am having an awesome time. This is why we do it. What a great day. It's fantastic. We're at Punta Prima. I'm right out on the rocks looking for seabirds. The European Birding Places EU app said this is a good spot for bird watching. It is. The seabirds, all of the Shearwaters, the Balearic Shearwater, I'll get that right one day, are all out there distant. What I'll show you is I'll just overlay the video I'm getting. I'm using the 4K crop, it's right out there, and I'm waiting for them to go up in flocks like this. And we came into the town and I thought, I'm going to eat before, I don't want to eat at 9 o'clock, so we ate. And I could see from the table, because we had a sea view, the birds, just flocks of them going off in the distance. And I was like pulling my, I was like, bring my food, hurry up, bring the bill. Yeah, just enough for dessert, I don't need it. Get there, I need to go. So yeah, it's a little bit smelly out here. Watch yourself. It smells like there's a sewage outlet, or just maybe the seaweed and anything that's getting washed in is dying off. But it's fresh. The closer you can get to the water here, the fresher it gets. I'm just trying to keep you from the lens flare there. Let's have it. I'll turn you around, show where I'm at. There's gonna be a lot of lens flare. Apologies. There's the town of Punta Prima. I think this is the Canal de Menorca, which is between here and Mallorca. And that island's a breeding ground for seabirds, but they all fly through there. They're all going up and down. I've got to keep my head on a swivel. Yeah, what I'm doing is I'm taking video and photos, and the photos, once they get a bit closer, I take those so that when I get them on my computer, I can zoom in and identify if there's any little strays that will up my list a bit. No whimbrel, which is unfortunate. I thought there might be some plover or whimbrel here. But you go through this gate at the top end of the restaurant area, and it's like a nature reserve area. You walk through the sandy ground, bushes on either side. You've got house martins. I almost stopped to try and get flight shots, but I thought I've got more important things to do than that at the moment. So I got down to this point. I was up on the mound a second ago, but I thought, no, even 30 feet extra into the, sorry about that shadow, I've just realized. 30 feet into the sea will be that much more helpful. And all the time, head on a swivel, I'm checking birds, because if that's, where are we? Oh, that's south. If that's south, things could be coming over. And a weird one, I stuck my head up and this big black bird went over. And I, swearing, I get my camera, what's that? There's a gull chasing it. And I'm like, is that just a black swan? I got video of it going by. So I couldn't ID it 100%. I thought, in my mind, I'm like, be some weird African migrant thing, but then it was coming back, it came back. So I flicked to photos and got some really clear shots. And I think it's just a black swan with a bit of leucism, white wingtip bits. And as I've said in previous videos, if you don't know, they're endemic to Australia, but they've been brought around the world and they're bred and released into the wild, and now they're technically wild in a lot of countries. But the big one, head on a swivel for sure. And I was saying it to myself, as I remember, head on a swivel, keep looking up, check every bird, every gull that goes by, you don't know, it could be something unusual. And up there was a black bird, hop with its wing, you know, it wasn't flapping, it was gliding. Oh no, so I thought, what is it gonna be? And I don't know, in my mind, I thought honey buzzard again. Honey buzzard yesterday was a lifer for me, and this thing was far up. So I put the tripod up as high as it could go. And I'll show you the footage first. It was just, I'll slow it down a few seconds because I'm doing my 4K crop, handheld, leaning against that, trying to bend my knees to point up. But it did, I flicked to photos and I got some upgrades to yesterday. I mean, they're not National Geographic covers by any means, but they are upgrades for sure. Excellent. Yeah, much improved honey buzzard. So I think we'll give it another 20 minutes here, and then I'll add on to this as we go, and we'll see if there are any more surprises. But this has been the perfect end to the day. Now that was a bit of awesome I didn't see coming. I think I'm on the right name here, Carrera Mitjera. Basically on the, where are we? Let me get this right. On the eastern side of the high road, where the restaurants are basically. I was just coming out of the gate from the walk along the coastal bit, and I saw the unmistakable colour of a hoopoe take off and land on a wire. And then it came down and was feeding along this central reservation area. And as I moved my way along, things were scaring them off. There was a point where there were 4. I couldn't get all 4 in. I got 3 just about. Look, here's the 3. But there were, what are you? Yeah, there are a lot of sparrows coming here having dust baths. So I'm getting mistaken. Oh, there's another hoopoe there. I'll see if I can get it in the film. But the 4, yeah, I had the 4. I was waiting for them to all come together at somewhere to get into the frame of the camera. And a runner went up the road instead of the pavement. Can't blame them, they don't know. But I got the 3, and then I just filmed all the single ones, all the individual ones. I tried going down low to take some blurred background and foreground shots. But yeah, the light is really low now, and I couldn't get in it. People just kept scaring them off. I believe there's lots of grass on either side, inside gardens and lawns. So when people scare them off, they just fly in there. So this one's not flying yet. Oh, there it goes. Where is it going? It's over there. Is it going to come back to the road? Yes, it's gone back to the road. Yeah. So it likes this bit. There's obviously some good grubs in here. All the way up, go all the way to the top. I'll film them all the way to the top. Wow, 4 hoopoes at the same time. Every time I go on holiday, I think nothing, well, I've got much better footage in, say, Fuerteventura, and last time I was here in Menorca, but I went from getting 1 in the frame to getting 2 and thinking that was brilliant. And now I have footage of all 3. Brilliant. Now I just need a flock. Excellent. So yeah, just check out, I'll just overlay some of this great footage. I was being a bit overzealous. I was zooming all the way in and cropping bits out and trying to, the camera struggles a little bit in the low light. You can see it going in and out of focus here. Yeah, loads of sparrows. Fly catchers on all the wires as well. And all your collared doves, usual lot. My wife's at the car probably wondering where I am. Honey, you're not going to believe it. What, more birds? Yeah. Let's go down here. So I'm just going down the back of the shops. That's a flycatcher up there. Yeah. Flycatcher. Is that another one? Another one, yeah, tons of them. Yeah. Unless he just flew over there. He's up there. Anything else lurking? No, now he's up there. Hey, buddy. Oh, no, he's going to the next wire, You see him? Yeah. Very inquisitive. They always say that. When a bird tilts its head, the label is always, it's an inquisitive bird. Okay, I think that's it.